Okay, hey guys, welcome back to the Wallum's World YouTube channel. Today we are doing another tier list for the first time since I've had my face cam as part of my setup, and I'm using it for a tier list. I thought it'd be if I'm chatting about the topic and things like that, it'd be worth me being on screen, I suppose. Today it's a slightly different topic. It's not gaming related, but it is in fact something I'm very passionate about. In terms of just the topic in general, I find it very interesting. You know, I read quite a bit about them and enjoy playing, the Jurassic World games and enjoy the films like Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Walking with Dinosaurs, Walking with Monsters, Walking with Beasts, Jurassic World or Jurassic Park horror game eventually that's going to come out, which I'm going to be playing on the channel. Absolutely no doubt about that. To the point where I've actually got them tattooed on me. Many a dinosaur. I think I've actually got 5 at the moment. With this bit going to be filled at some point. So that's obviously why tattoo worthy cool is an option. Is because I've got some tattooed on me. So the tiers on the left are, the best one is tattoo worthy cool. That's reserved for the ones that I've got and I've got plans to get on me. Second tier down is Dynamite. Third tier is Rawsome. I made the tier list myself and collected the images and decided what dinosaurs to do and made the tiers myself. And I thought Dynamite sounds like it would be better than Rawsome, I like Rawsome's. Anyway, pretty cool, and then too scary because, in my opinion, I don't think there's like bad dinosaurs. I don't think there's like, oh, that dinosaur kind of sucks. I just think there are some that I find more interesting and cool and things like that, and more interesting to sort of learn about. Some of them are just fucking terrifying, and we'll get onto that. And I'm sure anyone that knows me and knows the channel and knows that I play like Subnautica and I've got like thalassophobia and things like that, they know where I'm going with that one. And also, if you've watched Jurassic Park 3 specifically, there is one specific dinosaur that's going in there as well from that film, which is fucking horrendous. There's actually 2 from that film into that tier, and I can say that with absolute confidence. So, without further ado, I'll read across the dinosaurs. You'll have to bear with me in terms of some pronunciation. I feel like I'm at a point where I can pronounce them, read them quite comfortably. So first, it's in alphabetical order. So first we've got Allosaurus, then we've got Amargasaurus, Ankylosaurus, Archaeopteryx, Archelon, Baryonyx, Brachiosaurus, Carnotaurus, Ratosaurus, Ankylosaurus, Compsognathus. I don't know if that's exactly how you say it. That's as close as I can get. The Corinthosaurus, the Deinonychus, Dilophosaurus, Dimorphodon, Diplodocus, Dracorex, Dreadnoughtus, which is pretty much the fucking coolest name for a dinosaur ever. Like, whoever named that, they've smashed it. Edmontosaurus, Gallimimus, Giganotosaurus, Ichthyosaur, Iguanodon, Mosasaur, Parasaurolophus, Pentaceratops, Plesiosaur, Protoceratops, Pterodactyl, Pterodon, Spinosaurus, Stegosaurus, Struthiomimus, Suchomimus, T-Rex, which is Tyrannosaurus Rex, of course, the Tarbosaurus, Therizinosaurus, Triceratops, Zentausaurus, and Velociraptor. That was a lot of sauruses. There's 40 here that I've chosen. I don't really know exactly. Some of them I've chosen just because I like them. Some of them I've chosen for a specific reason that I'll get into. There's no real like prejudice or reason for picking one over the other in terms of being in the tier list. I know it's obviously not every type of dinosaur. There's thousands and whatever else, but this is like, I wanted to do these ones specifically for one reason or another, and they've all got their reason for being placed. With that being said, just why don't we just get into it, I suppose. I'll start with tattoo worthy. I could probably put them quite in there straight away because they're just the ones I've got. and give a little bit of have a little bit of a talk about exactly why I've gone for them, and you know what about them is like sort of attracts me to that as like being an interesting one. But the ones I've actually currently got tattoos of are Triceratops. I've got them T-Rex and Triceratops skulls on my chest. I will not be getting out in this video. I've also got a Carnotaurus on my arm. Got a Diplodocus on my arm, and I've got a Draco Rex on my arm. And the ones I haven't got yet, which I'm planning on getting, of course, the Velociraptor. And so, I mean, there are others that I would genuinely think are tattoo worthy cool, and I'd probably, you know, I've got 2 arms, so you never know. But I always change my mind about what I want on this one. But essentially, Triceratops is just the best one. It's the coolest dinosaur, hands down. No debate. It's the coolest, especially in terms of herbivores. It's the coolest herbivore. I think there are obviously Stegosaurus is pretty neat as well, but you can't really go wrong with Triceratops. And the same applies for T-Rex, but for carnivores. Like the T-Rex is the goat, is the guy, Tyrannosaurus Rex. He's like the guy, you know, he's the big main guy. Obviously, they focused on the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. He's like the big bad. Well, you know what I mean. The Velociraptors are also and also he's like savior of Jurassic World when they're fighting the fucking Indominus Rex, and then the Velociraptors are fighting it, and they get the T-Rex out, and the Mosasaur. It's like the guy. Okay? Then we've got the Carnotaurus, which I have on the top of my arm. It's somewhat like a T-Rex in terms of like, you know, what he is, but got horns, really cool. And there's something that I like about the Carnotaurus, which is pretty wild, is that they don't have much bite force. I don't know how people discovered this. I'm assuming it's from bones and looking like the shape of the jaw and the way it fits and the size of the bones in comparison to the body, like the size of the jaw and stuff. But it's got a weak bite force, so its teeth are like mega sharp, so it had to slash with its teeth at its prey to kill it rather than biting it and like crushing its bones and stuff, which is pretty mental. But yeah, the Diplodocus I've got on my arm. Can't really show it, but it's there. It's the coolest big long-necked dinosaur. There are quite a few. There's obviously the Brontosaurus and the Brachiosaurus, but the Diplodocus is the goat. Draco Rex literally translates to Dragon King. That's about it. Him on my arm there. It's really hard to show the camera, but I got that. Awesome dinosaur. Very cool dinosaur. He had the big like hard shell crest on their head. I would like smash out. That really hurt smash into each other to like show their dominance and assert themselves as alpha. That's pretty cool. I would, you know, if I had a fucking big boned crest on my head that would protect my head, I'd go around headbutting everything. Why not? And then the ones I would be willing to get tattoos of, but I haven't decided on how I'd want them, are Velociraptor and Dilophosaurus. Obviously, Dilophosaurus is probably what I would say in the first Jurassic Park, the absolute most terrifying scene in the film, especially. Well, actually, no, in the book especially. But there's a competitor for the book, but what they do to Nedry when it's like raining in the film, they like spit in his face and they've got the frills. I think that's really cool. I think they're cool, and I think they're going to be quite a big part of the Jurassic Park survival game that's coming out in the near future. And Velociraptors is really cool anyway. That's a plan for like the inside part that's not done yet. I'd like maybe, if it's possible, I'll speak to my tattoo artist, but if it's possible, I'd like a scene where they're like one's fighting the other, because I can't choose one to put on the arm. I keep umming and ahhing about, I'd get a Velociraptor. If I was to get a Velociraptor, I'd get it more like it's realistic kind of what they've discovered it would look like with like the feathers and stuff. I don't think I'd go for like what they made it look like in Jurassic Park or Jurassic World specifically. Um, but you know, that's why I would put them in there. And they're all just extremely cool dinosaurs. They're all just like the best dinosaurs by a long shot. Um, so I think the next easiest one to put into place would probably be Too Scary. And first few, Mosasaurus, disgusting. Plesiosaur, disgusting. Ichthyosaur, horrific. What else am I looking at? Spinosaurus, gross. And the one I was alluding to earlier from Jurassic Park 3, the pterodactyl. Tell you what, we'll put pterodons in there as well. Pterodons and pterodactyls are very, very similar. They often get confused. They are different. Not a lot, I would say, obvious differences between them. However, if you've seen Jurassic Park 3, you would know that there's a scene in the aviary with the pterodactyl where it comes out the fog, and it makes my skin crawl every time I watch it. It makes me chills. It's horrifying, and I think that's probably traumatized me for so long that I would still say they are probably up there. And also, there's that scene in the first Jurassic World. I don't know exactly what ones they are that do it, but the babysitter that's looking after like the two kids, she gets like pulled and pulled apart by like flying dinosaurs, and I feel like they're pterodons. I could be wrong. And then it's like the mosasaur like fucking grabs them out of the water, and it's just really like quite mean and horrible to a character that's not really done anything wrong. And that kind of like was a bit traumatic and horrible to see. So that's why I would say they're, and also they're fucking giant birds. And if you just like, if they existed in today's world, you know, and like they would just fucking eat us. They would. If you think like a flock of pigeons or a flock of crows, a murder of crows, I'm gonna say, when they're like, like flying and like changing directions, they're flying, or see a bunch of pigeons on a telephone pole. I think that's scary. Imagine that, but they're all fucking pterodactyls, pterodons. It would be disgusting, horrid. As for Spinosaurus, again, Jurassic Park 3. I'm actually gonna put it up there. It's a contender for like genuinely, for me, I would consider to be one of the scariest dinosaurs. Horrible. It literally kills the T-Rex. Very low effort, just demolishes the T-Rex. Then there's the scene in where they phone the dad's phone, and they find each other, and they say, "Oh wow, I knew I'd find your phone because of that stupid jingle." And then they're like, "I don't have my phone. I lost my phone." And then they turn around, and a fucking Spinosaurus is just chilling there with the phone ringing in his stomach. Horrid. And then later on, they're on the river on a boat, and it's raining, and you see his like spine, like sail thing on the spine, like gliding through the water. They've got webbed feet and webbed hands. They can swim like well. Like, so you think, oh fuck, it's this big giant dinosaur. It's chasing me. Let me, oh I don't know, get in the water because it can't swim. Yes, it can. It can fucking swim, and it can swim well, and it's terrifying. Ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs, they're going in there as well, because I hate open water. I like the thought of like not seeing what's around you, and you know, and being out in the middle of the ocean. It's terrifying. Thought of them being in the water, more terrifying. And then the mosasaur, I think it's very self-explanatory, completely on it. There is also a Therizinosaurus, which I would potentially be tempted to put into Too Scary. If you've seen Jurassic World 3, there is that horrible scene where I think Claire is in the woods and she's like in like a puddle, and the Therizinosaurus is like lurking. It's got like fucking nails, like knives and machetes, and she like goes onto the water and has to hold her breath while it's like drinking and looking for her. Horrible scene. Really well done, to be fair. But genuinely terrifying. The thing that doesn't make it into Too Scary is the fact that later on in the film it like bears a dinosaur, like nails, and it's just really cool. So I can't put it in too scary just because of that specifically. Yeah, you know, gets him good right through the body. So he's going in pretty cool because he's pretty cool. Also, one that could potentially go into too scary is Tarbosaurus. Tarbosaurus is fucking terrifying. It's kind of like a T-Rex. It's kind of like a T-Rex, but a little bit chubbier. A little bit of a chubby T-Rex, and that's why he's not too scary. Because he's kind of just like T-Rex, but he's like kind of much to eat. But he's a menacing-looking guy, and he'd probably rip you to shreds. Well, I say probably. He definitely would rip you to shreds. But he's going to go and roar some, because I think the T-Rex is like really cool, and he's like, so if they're so similar, but then he's just like a chubby one, so he goes in that. Pretty cool as well. Archelon. The specific reason why I put them in there is because they're so obviously closely, as you can see by the image, they're so closely related to modern day turtles, which is really cool that like they're so closely linked and related. So that's why they've got it in there. And I also feel like if I was in the water, they are massive. I get that, and they've got beaks on them, which could probably do some serious damage to you. But they seem like the least likely, like go out of their way to do like that. That's why they stay, or why they get placed in there, because they're pretty cool. They're not too scary, even though they are water dwellers, and I don't like the water. I also would never be in the water in that sense. If I knew that those things existed in the water, go in it, and that is. So next is another one that I was tempted by putting. It's kind of like almost too scary because of a specific scene in the Jurassic Park book, and it's differently done in the film because the one in the book is extremely fucked up. Is the Compsognathus. They're like called Compy. Is like a nickname that people on the internet have given it, and maybe it was coined from Jurassic Park. I feel like it was referenced as a compy in, I want to say, in the book. But in the book, there's a scene. I don't know if it's in the first or second book. There's a scene where a mother can hear it's the baby crying in another room, and then it stops crying, and they can hear like squelching noises. It goes in there, and it's in like a little basket, like and then they're just eating it. Horrible. Genuinely, reading it is a horrible thing to read. And then in the film, there's like a little girl that sees them. They're tiny little things, and they're jumping along, and she goes over to them, and they attack her, and then they attack her family. Really fucked up. So it was potentially going to go in too scary. However, the reason why they're not in too scary is because they're fucking tiny. So I couldn't really. They look like sort of lizard size. Like a bearded dragon, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe sort of like a iguana. So I couldn't really put them in too scary. As a group, if they're like 200 of them came onto it, horrible. But as one single one, I don't think it's bad. But they are pretty cool. They're really fucked up in like things they do. Fucked up. So. I'm just looking at all these dinosaurs. What do I want to talk about next? I'm going to go with Brachiosaurus in pretty cool, and I'll save Brachiosaurus. He's like the Diplodocus, but not as cool. There's not much to say about Brachiosaurus. I think Diplodocus, there's like some which are like more like vertical, and some, but obviously they're like they can move their necks, but they like. As a standard, there would some that would be more vertical and more. But okay. That is where Brachiosaurus is going. Next, we will talk about Penta and Protoceratopses. Triceratops is obviously the GOAT. He's the coolest. He's iconic. He's got the aura. But look at Pentaceratops himself. He looks pretty neat he's a cool guy. So he's going to go in awesome. Then Protoceratops is only going to go in pretty cool because the Pentaceratops, like, it'd be like a Pokemon evolution. It'd be Protoceratops evolves into Triceratops and evolves into Pentaceratops. Would be like how it would work, but I just think the Triceratops is more like iconic and cool. And as for, well, that's not really much more to say about that. That's just how I feel about the Protoceratops. Is kind of like I guess it's proto is like before, right? I'm pretty sure like like kind of like, I think prototype, and it's like the first version kind of thing, and then they maybe like evolved a bit, sort of to be more defensive and have more like armor and protection. We're going to put Struthiomimus and Gallimimus together in pretty cool because they are pretty cool. There's the scene in Jurassic Park where all the Gallimimuses are running away from, I want to say it's a T-Rex in the first Jurassic Park, maybe. Can't think of what the scene off the top of my head, or it could be from the first Jurassic World where they're running away from an Indominus Rex, but like they're driving and all the Gallimimuses are like running beside them, which is a pretty cool scene. And I've put the Morphodon not in the too scary because of its size, but it just looks really strange looking dinosaur. It's pretty cool. I also would hate though if this existed, because fuck that, who would want to deal with that shit? And it's the same thing with the Archaeopteryx. That's borderline too scary, but I just feel like it looks cool. It looks more cool than a Dimorphodon, and I reckon an Archaeopteryx would fucking have a Dimorphodon in a fight. And I also feel like it'd be like on the same pedestal as it'd be like a vulture. That's what I kind of like. I would make the modern day comparison. So let's continue on, but we'll look at Dino-Mite section, and we're going to put Kilosaurus, Stegosaurus, and Dreadnoughtus. And the reason why Dreadnoughtus is called a Dreadnoughtus, like that's the sickest name probably you could think of for a dinosaur. Stegosaurus is, again, really cool, quite iconic dinosaur. They have the plates on their back, which I used to just think were cool plates. I thought they were pretty neat. I thought they were like they're like just more like decoration, but the fact that they're more like they're like thermal, like they regulate their body temperature with them. That's very cool. I wish I could regulate my body temperature by just having plates on my back. That'd be lovely, and I wouldn't be too cold, and I wouldn't be too hot. It'd be absolutely perfect all the time. And then Kilosauruses are literally just tanks, aren't they? Like the spiky sides, the big ball tail. There's the scene in Jurassic World where they hit the kids when they're in the gyrosphere thing, they, like bat them around like pinball. I feel like they'd put up a fight against a lot of dinosaurs. I reckon they'd be like quite territorial in impacts. They'd just like fucking batter people. There's also a reason. Also, I want to say I don't know why I've just thought of this. The reason why I put Triceratops as well top is because I've seen some like artwork by someone where it was like a Triceratops with T-Rex like beard on his horns. Just unlimited aura. Should have used that photo actually. Not photo. Should have used that image. But yeah, that's why also cool. But Ankylosauruses are awesome, and Deinonychus is also Dino-Mite because it's kind of very similar to how they believe Velociraptors actually looked, like the feathers. But they are just fucking menaces. They just look and seem evil, and that's why they're gonna go there. I think we'll continue on with our carnivore train of thought, and we'll stick some carnivores in. I think Ceratosaurus is awesome. I think Giganotosaurus, again, awesome. I think Suchomimus is awesome. And I think Allosaurus, pretty cool. And I know what you're thinking. What about the Baryonyx? They are, well, I don't know what the term would be. Pescivores? Vegetarian? They eat fish. They dwell near, or they would dwell near bodies of water, and like basically hunt fish. Pretty cool. But they are pretty cool. And Allosaurus is kind of like a T-Rex, kind of like a Tarbosaurus, kind of like a Giganotosaurus, but just doesn't have as much to him that I think makes him different, or makes him more like unique, or makes him more interesting to look into. But I still think he's very cool. And the way that they designed him actually in Jurassic World Evolution is very menacing. So if it was like specifically based off that design from that game, he would go higher. But as just a dinosaur in general, I'm not convinced as much. And then we have the Giganotosaurus in Rawsome, because he's fucking massive, huge, and the Suchomimus as well, because there's something about like the head shape, body shape. It just looks proper, like menacing, and it's very it gives kind of similar to Baryonyx, but he's just, and also carnivore rather than just a pescivore. So I reckon he could do some serious damage. And I did do a Jurassic World Evolution stream, Jurassic World Evolution 2 stream, should I say, not too long ago, where I basically just put a bunch of like carnivores into a ring and had them fight to the death. A lot of them did fight, to be fair, but I do remember Giganotosaurus being in it, Ceratosaurus, Carnosaurus, Tarbosaurus were all there, and I just wanted them to have a proper like battle royale. So that was good times. Then the ones we have left are kind of like the ones that maybe are a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? They're kind of niche, we say. That's not the word I was looking for, but that's the only word I can think of. But we'll go for like the more well-known ones straight off the get. Got the Parasaurolophus, Edmontosaurus, and the Iguanodon. I feel like they're all kind of like less like niche and less specific. I suppose they're more well-known. I think people know what an Iguanodon is, and I think people know what Parasaurolophus, even if they can't say the fucking name. So I'm gonna put the Edmontosaurus, I think, in Dynamite, the whatever the fuck he's called, because I can't say his name, is awesome, and the Iguanodon is pretty cool because he's pretty cool. But I think the Edmontosaurus, I think he has a vibe, you know. And they have like slightly longer legs. They're like bipedal, but they like walk on all fours. It's pretty neat. No, I just think they look, aesthetically they look. Then we've got the four left. We have Amargasaurus, the Chunkingosaurus, the Corinthosaurus, Dinosaurus. I know I said there's like kind of like a specific reason why I put certain ones in, and the Corinthosaurus is one that, especially on Jurassic World Evolution 1, featured a bit in the like story mode version of it, where you go through and they say read this specific one you find quite early on, so I just thought I'd stick him in. He's just pretty cool, pretty neat. The Centaurosaurus is going in Rawsome because of the crest on his head, a big just lump, and I just think that looks pretty funny. And I think Centaurosaurus is kind of cool. No, he's not like the coolest in the world, but he's good. The Amargasaurus and the Chunkingosaurus are going into Dino. The fucking Amargasaurus is like it's almost like a sort of Brachiosaurus-y type thing with like long neck, kind of a bit Stegosaurus-y in terms of its body shape. Not got quite as long a neck as like the Diplodocus and so on, but it's got fucking like spines on his neck and then like spikes on his back, and it looks really cool. that's all there is to it. I reckon he's a big fucker, and I reckon he probably is like in a similar. He is more like a theropod. He's like in the same class as like a Diplodocus, and a Brachiosaurus, and a Dreadnoughtus. The name is also pretty cool, but it's not Dreadnought. They just look. And then a Chunkingosaurus is kind of like an Ankylosaurus, not quite as armored and plated, and you know, it doesn't look as like tanky, but he's got spikes. He's got weird spikes on his elbow, but he's got spikes on his back too. And there we go. I just wanted to do a video talking about dinosaurs, and this is the list I've come up with. Just because they're in pretty cool, it doesn't mean they're like worse. Or I still, like I said before, I think all these dinosaurs are really cool. I think all of the, I think just dinosaurs in general, like super interesting to learn about. But for example, you know, we've got a Diplodocus, Dreadnoughtus, a Margosaurus, and a Brachiosaurus, which are all like similar. Like, you know, you could put them in the same sort of group of dinosaurs, but then within that, what do I think is the most interesting, and what do I think is the most unique something about it? Same with the Triceratops, Pentaceratops, Protoceratops. It's more about like they're all in a group, and then I just like filter through. Same with like, you know, you've got like big like carnivores, like big boys like the T-Rex, Carnotaurus, Ceratosaurus, Tarbosaurus, all like the big fuck. Then you got like the smaller ones like the Deinonychus, Velociraptor, Dilophosaurus, that are all kind of like raptory. That you'd say they're more raptory. And then you've just got absolute menaces in the compies, fucking menaces. Yeah, just fancy talking. What I've realised actually is that this tier is very heavily herbivores, and this tier has got 4 big carnivores in it. So what I'm going to do actually, I'm going to move Tarbo, move the big chunky Tarbo into Dynamite, and I'm going to move the Ceratosaurus into Dynamite as well, so we have a bit more inclusion, or a bit more diversity in the ranks of where I'd put them. And that is that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me just rant about dinosaurs for, you know, God knows how long. If you did enjoy, please leave a like. Let me know what you think. Let me know all sorts of, if you've got any like fun facts about dinosaurs. If there's any dinosaurs that you think I find interesting that I've missed, let me know. I want to learn about them. I want to know more. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Take care, everybody, and goodbye.